If you thought that toe and nail fungus provokes nothing more but shame when showing your feet in the summer, you are in for a very nasty surprise. Unfortunately, not many people have any idea of the risks involved when dealing with this microscopic parasite, and why, if you have toenail fungus, you may be dealing with something much more alarming than the poisoning fungus itself. Please be warned. This special report contains highly sensitive information and ugly truths about toe and nail fungus, but also the why and the how to manage a fungus infection that doesn't yet have a permanent cure. Our goal today is restoring your health from the fungus infection, keeping you healthy, happy, and wildly energetic. Listening to this report means that you're committed to changing your life and taking your health into a complete new level. Are you ready? Because let me tell you, this video is not for everyone, but you are in the right place if you have seen your toenails getting brittle, thicker, or changing color, if the disease is just the beginning, covering a single nail, or it has progressed to the point you can't show your feet in public. This video is the answer to real fungus management, a gruesome condition medical research thinks is incurable. What if I told you instead that a special management technique, done correctly, can save your feet for life? What if I told you that the only way to get it is to watch this video until the end? We exclusively present to you 3 clinical cases, completely healed using a revolutionary method. In America only, over 30 million Americans suffer from toe and nail fungus infection. Like many other Americans, Matt Stevens, a 53-year-old tax consultant from California, thought toenail fungus was nothing serious. Yet there he is in intensive care, barely recovering from blood poisoning, with oxygen tubes inserted into his nostrils and being pumped with antibiotics. The doctors told him that they brought him in with a severe fever, 103.5 Fahrenheit, after he fainted on the sidewalk. And fortunately for him, he wasn't one of the 40% who die because of blood poisoning or septicemia. Toe and nail fungus had destroyed his health over time, slowly chewing away his immune system. Toenail fungus turned into an infection that spread throughout his body and turned his life into a real nightmare. That is why he and 2 other patients have agreed to appear in this short report made for FungusKeyPro.com in order to get people to realize the truth about the silent killer and to seek treatment immediately. No matter your age or previous medical history, you are about to learn the bare facts about this extremely widespread disease. You will discover the hard research into how the fungus in your body react to different treatments out there. And by the end, we will reveal the world's most effective way to deal with this microscopic parasite. The only thing you can do is to be sure you won't close this page by mistake and listen very carefully to the next minutes, as it provides the most comprehensive and easy solution to a great life without any fungal infections. So if you think this infection is growing inside your nails and feeding off your skin, there are some people who have to watch this. So, if you have a weak immune system that attracts all sorts of illnesses and diseases like a magnet, if you are older than 50, if you suffer from diabetes or any other chronic disease, make no mistake, you need to stop this microscopic pest from spreading to other parts of the body. Because if left untreated, your toes and nails are just the start, and soon you may find swollen, pus-filled lumps under the surface of the skin all over you. It can even turn up on your face, leaving ugly scars that never heal. Even more alarmingly, symptoms develop rapidly and include very severe pain, fever, diarrhea, vomiting. All the while, this fungus grinds down your immune system and opens the way to deadly diseases like meningitis or necrosis. As this infection consumes your skin and tissue, it will enter the bloodstream, and next thing you know, you will find yourself lying in a hospital bed or worse. A human body is not meant to be a fungal colony. Besides the repulsive thought of having something grow inside you and feed off your cells, toenail fungus has many other nasty issues. You never know when or where you get it, and it is extremely contagious, especially in summer when you can get it from the beach or from going to a swimming pool. Matt Stevens still does not know exactly where he got it.
The first thing I noticed was my nails started changing color and they were becoming more brittle, and I thought that a good scrubbing and changing socks and shoes was going to help, and really for a time it seemed to help. Maybe it slowed the infection, but it really didn't pay off. I'm a tax consultant, by the way, and as work would pile up, I had less and less time, of course, to really properly take care of this infection. And, sometimes, especially during tax season, I wouldn't leave the office for 2 or 3 days. And I could see that the infection was spreading. And so obviously I took the next logical step and I went to a podiatrist. After a very brief examination, he recommended Lamisil, and it was, he said it's the best oral medication to treat the mold, the yeast, the fungal portion of the infection. And for a while, again, it seemed that the infection was slowing, stopping, and receding. But then the side effects started to kick in for me. And it was really kind of a surprise. At first there was like a fever, and then these sudden chills, and I got joint pains, and I felt these sores in my mouth and throat, and I started losing weight, and I got patches on my skin that were turning purple. It was really awful. I think the last straw for me was I was getting this upper stomach pain, and I got loss of appetite and dark urine, and I even started developing jaundice, for crying out loud. The treatment wasn't working for me. It was destroying my liver faster than like a liter of vodka every day. So I decided, obviously, that I'd had enough of that, and I figured, well, what's the worst that a puny fungus can do to me? And then the next thing I knew, I ended up in the hospital. Truly, it was frightening, laying there on the hospital bed, and I didn't know what was worse, the treatment or the fungus. And I absolutely dreaded having to go back to Lamisil, and frankly, I'm not sure that it was a real option at the time. I thought I was going to die.
So what exactly are the side effects of Lamisil, one of the most common treatments prescribed by doctors for toe and nail fungus? Fever, chills, body aches, flu symptoms, sores in your mouth and throat, upset stomach, gas, diarrhea, mild nausea or stomach pain, headache, dizziness or spinning sensation, joint pain or swelling, swollen glands, patchy skin color, or butterfly-shaped skin rash over your cheeks and nose, hearing problems, severe skin reaction, fever, sore throat, swelling in your face or tongue, burning in your eyes, skin pain, followed by a red or purple skin rash that spreads, especially in the face or upper body, and causes blistering and peeling, and of course all the liver-related conditions Matt suffered from, like nausea, upper stomach pain, itching, loss of appetite, dark urine, clay-colored stools, jaundice, yellowing of the skin or eyes. Incredibly, all these conditions can occur whether or not you ever had liver problems before, and the FDA has recorded 11 cases that ended in the death of a patient and another 2 cases that required liver transplants. 11 people died because they took Lamisil to treat their toe and nail fungus, and Matt Stevens could have been among them if he chose to continue the treatment. The other medicine out there is Spornex, and it's even worse. 11 deaths linked by the FDA to liver failure. Also, the FDA has reviewed 94 cases in which patients treated with Spornex developed congestive heart failure. In 58 of the 94 cases, the FDA believes Spornex contributed to or may have been the cause of the congestive heart failure. Although the causal relationship is unclear, death was reported in 13 cases. This is what the Canadian Medical Association Journal has to say about it. Is it any wonder many law offices offer specialized counsel services related to court action for Lamisil and Spornex cases, such as Matt's? It is still a wonder that this treatment is still prescribed to millions of patients in the US, because it's like using explosives to clear your home of pests. Lamisil, while designed to kill fungus, is still poisonous to living organisms. When you swallow the pill, it goes through the stomach and into the bloodstream, circulating toxic chemicals through your entire body, when in fact the problem exists only in your toes and nails. The treatment lasts for 9 to 12 months and costs about $1,500. It has a success rate of 60%, but it damages your body 100% of the time. And even if you manage to save yourself the fungus at some point, it has a 75% chance of coming back. This is exactly what happened to Jason Bridges, age 21.
My toenail came off during football practice, right? I guess I must have bashed it up against something. Sure, yeah, it was painful at first, but when the pain did subside, I didn't think much of it at all. Didn't think it was a big deal. But a few days after, it started to itch, and the nail kept on falling off over and over again, only to grow back thicker and darker each time. You know, when we hit the showers one day, one of the guys noticed it. Some made fun of it, while others, they were just too grossed out about it. The coach knew it was contagious and had me suspended from the team until I got it fixed. So I did the smart thing. The next day I went to the podiatrist and he gave me a prescription for Sporanox. Now, I couldn't wait to get rid of the fungus, so I followed the treatment to the letter. But as the fungus began to disappear, something became very wrong with me. Although I should have been happy that the treatment was working, I began feeling sad for no particular reason at all. I started to have trouble sleeping and I was always tired, but worst of all was the fact that I had very little desire for sex, which is unheard of for a college athlete, right? You'd think I'm in my prime. This felt awkward. So I tried to push myself to do it like before, and then something even more embarrassing happened. I just couldn't perform anymore, and it was definitely not the girl's fault. Lucky for me, she kept quiet about it, but you could imagine if this rumor spread, my life would have been over. I sank deeper and deeper into depression, and I could not focus on anything at all. I prayed for the last day of treatment to come, and I couldn't wait to be off this medication finally. And when the day did come, I felt a joy I had never felt since starting the treatment. Everything seemed to be returning to normal until just 2 months later, the fungus was back. The news struck me like lightning. I thought the nightmare was over, and then it came back out of nowhere.
Both Matt and Jason have tried oral medicine for their condition, and while toe fungus may respond better to ointments and creams, the nail acts as an impenetrable shield if the fungus gets underneath it. Casey Turner, aged 42, tried the newest form of treatment, laser therapy for the fungus. Here's what she had to say about it.
So what they don't tell you is that laser treatment costs $500 per session, and it will take multiple sessions to get this treatment to work. And while for some month I was actually fungus-free, somehow it came back again. And I was so dissatisfied with this, I went straight to the treatment center to demand my money back, of course. So after arguing with the management, I would say for about 3 hours with no results in sight, I was on my way out, furious, when one of the nurses approached me and she told me she wasn't supposed to give me any other recommendations of any type, and if she was discovered doing this, she would be fired in an instant. But she recommended I visit a small natural treatment center on the outskirts of Los Angeles. She said that the treatment prescribed there had helped her permanently cure toe and nail fungus, but only if I was ready to try something truly unconventional.
Matt, Jacob, and Kathy were all treated by Chang. We met them all during our visits to his office. When we arrived, we were amazed to discover a line of 12 people in the waiting room. 12 people! For such a small business, this was absolutely amazing. This may sound far-fetched right now, but once you understand his background, it will be perfectly clear. He was born in South Vietnam in 1948, and when the war came, he worked at a hospital taking care of our wounded soldiers. Besides the horrible wounds of war he saw every day, something else that was very common among the patients at the hospital. Our boys called it jungle rot, and it was a result of going through the mosquito-infested swamps and jungles under the tropical sun, an even more aggressive fungal strain than anything we have now in the US. These nasty infections of the skin and nail flourished on the feet of soldiers stuck in the moist, tropical environments for days without rotation. This, coupled with not being able to wash and change to dry socks, spelled pure carnage for their toes and feet. Yet while this plagued a whopping 68% of our soldiers, the Vietnamese seemed to be coping with it easily, and it had nothing to do with genetics. Mr. Chang was a volunteer back then, yet he had a remarkable intuition and a truly kind soul. So he began to research natural remedies to treat soldiers suffering from jungle rot. After speaking with local healers and botanists for 9 months, he had finally found something that left him speechless at first. When his case was finally free of the jungle rot infection, he wanted to make sure this wasn't a coincidence. But 20 more success cases in the next day only prove to him he's on the right track, because these traditional remedies, developed over hundreds and hundreds of years, passed down from generation to generation in Vietnam, were shunned by our doctors and nurses at first. But in time, they proved to be a lot more effective than modern medicine. Long story short, in just a couple of months, our own field doctors were using the local treatment discovered by Wu Chang instead of what we brought from our home country. And best of all, they had no harmful or potentially deadly side effects, because everything came from Mother Nature. Chang treated American soldiers until the final months of the war. He knew that when the communists would overrun the South, they would seek to punish anyone that helped the Americans. This would most likely mean torture and death for him. So he appealed to the soldiers he had helped, and they all worked together to repay him for his service. Chang was granted U.S. citizenship and was aboard one of the last ships that evacuated people from South Vietnam. He came to the U.S. and opened a small traditional remedy store. Today, he still focuses on toenail fungus and claims that his traditional treatment can get rid of the nasty infections, using common household items to manage a disease that modern medicine has not been able to fix. Does it really work? Matt, Jason, and Kathy are among the many for whom Chang's treatment made a real difference in their lives. Here's what they had to say. Matt.
At the beginning, I was skeptical about natural treatments. I thought everything besides our medical mainstream, medical facilities, everything besides that was just a scam. But since I had already tried the Lamisil option, and it did more harm than good, I was willing to try something, anything else, and I think it saved my life.
Jason.
The fungus nearly destroyed all I worked so hard to achieve. My sports career was hanging by a thread, my personal life ruined. I never thought such a small change would make all the difference. But I met Dr. Chang exactly at the right time, and he just turned it all around.
Kathy.
Having pure nails is something I thought was never possible when laser therapy failed. Amazingly, using Dr. Chang's formula, everything worked out, and it was so fast I could not believe it.